Would that be fair to say it was your biggest night at Anfield so far this season?
Because it results to a final, yes, maybe. But I think we had some big nights here already with Leverkusen, with City, with Madrid, and probably I forget a few. But yeah, to reach a final should always be special, and that is also what it is. So yeah, in that perspective, it's been the most special evening.
To reach a final as well early in the season is something that you're not used to.
It's a nice one to have. It's a special stadium for English people, but also for Dutch people, because we know the history of that stadium and the history of a final as well, of a League Cup final. So I'm very pleased to go there, but we also know that we are going to face a very, very tough opponent, because I saw them yesterday and I saw them this season. We already played them once. They're a very good team, but they're going to face a very good team as well.
You're also defending champions, though, going into that final against Newcastle. Talking to Virgil van Dijk, he was saying that could have done a little bit better in the first half. He talked about a little bit more intensity, but watching that performance tonight, it was just wave after wave of pressure.
Yeah, but I agree with him.
So picky.
But we also have to take into account that in the first half there were many injury moments. So it's difficult to get intensity in the game when there are so many injury moments. Players are on the floor needing treatment. But we controlled the game really well. I think it took them for 80 minutes before they had their first shot on target. And we were finding gaps in their last line more and more and more. So it was a very good performance from our side.
And how do you keep that work rate going? Because people talk about this competition and how it can set you up for the run-in that obviously you are at this moment in time involved in as well. But for all the other competitions that you're involved in?
Yeah, there are many games to be played, but we were lucky, or maybe not lucky, it was out of quality that we were already qualified after 6 games in the Champions League. So the 7th game we could already rotate a bit and give players rest at halftime. The 8th game we didn't play many of them. So we are still able to rotate. I said yesterday, this is a league where you play the most games, but you're only able to take 20 players and not 23. I want to add to that if you can take 23, you also take more academy players to the game. So if there was an opportunity today for 23 players, I would have taken 1 or 2 academy players and they probably would have come in as well. So that's an extra reason for me to say here in England, why don't we go to 23? Because then academy players gets more chances as well. But maybe that's not the moment to talk about that now.
Although you did say in the build-up to this in your press conference yesterday that you think when you can't take the amount of players that you want to, that's the hardest decision that you have to make.
It is, because if you play so many games, you can't do it with 20 players. So you need more players, and we are in a fortunate situation that we have more than 20 players fit. But that's one side of the story. The other side is that if a club like us should always have 20, 21, 22 first team players, and then behind it there are academy players. And if we are able to take more than 20 players to the game, then I think academy players get more chances as well for playing time, because a game like today would have been an ideal moment to give them some playing time. So it's something to think about, but it's not the first thing that comes to my mind at this moment.
Obviously not. Something to think about for the weekend, though? In another cup competition you've got coming up?
Yeah, away game on Sunday, and 3 days later, of course, it's a big game again. So, yeah, there's only one, I would say, downside to us reaching the final, and that is that we have to play Villa during the week. But yeah, being successful creates even more games, and that's why we've trained them to play many games. So that's not talk negative about it. It's a positive thing, because I think players like to play games. They get stronger, in my opinion, by playing games. And that's also what you see at the moment with us.
Try and enjoy it for at least a moment tonight.
I will. Thank you.
Well, as a team, you were absolutely on it tonight, weren't you? I know you needed that comeback, but it was a comeback and then some.
Yeah, you need a complete performance. I still think at halftime we could get a level up in terms of the intensity and put them even more under pressure, and that's what I've said as well. But to win here like we did tonight is great for the team, for the club, and now we focus on the FA Cup. But obviously we're very pleased to go to Wembley again.
You say that and talk about intensity, but the intensity was there right from the very off. How much more could you or have wanted to get out of it?
Well, listen, I think you wanted to start obviously with loads of intensity, and I think the game got interrupted a couple of times in the first half, so it ruins a little bit of momentum that was there. But we still did it now and then. But I felt like we could do a little bit more and make it even more uncomfortable for them, because obviously we know that they have the quality to play out, or they want to play through the middle, and they have these patterns and stuff. And if you bring the intensity to the game, then anyone can make mistakes. And I think the second half we did that, and a beautiful win today.
In fairness, it's like as if you just squeezed the life out of them. You suffocated them.
Well, that's what we try to do each and every game. But listen, nights like this, where there's a lot of things at stake. You obviously going to a final again. We don't take that for granted. I wanted to go there. We all wanted to go there again with the fans, and it was a great team performance, and really enjoyed it.
Can I ask you about Mo's penalty? That was like picture perfect, wasn't it?
Yeah, outstanding. I think no goalkeeper would have saved that. Obviously very important, clinical, and important again.
And you yourself getting in on the act, just like you did in the final last year, winning the Carabao Cup, lifting the Carabao Cup, and getting on the score sheet to send you on your way there again tonight.
Yeah, listen, it's always a proud moment to be on the score sheet and be important for the group. And finally, obviously, it's a lot of work going on behind the scenes to try be more clinical in front of goal with corners, set pieces, etc. And it's never always that easy, but today I finally could have scored a goal again.
Is it fair to say that this season couldn't be going any better? I mentioned to Cody Gakpo, as he was player of the match, that everything just seems to be falling into place, the targets you want to achieve as a group of players.
Well, we're in February now, and
it sets you up nicely, though, doesn't it?
Obviously, we can't complain about the situation we're in, and we won't. But the main thing is we should not take any of that for granted. We should keep working each and every day for it, and don't be easy on each other. And I don't see any of that happening because I will be on top of it with the managers as well. But it's about just staying calm, work our socks off, try to show our quality, defend with everything that we have as a team, and focus on ourselves. And I think that's the main thing. Just don't worry about others. And I think that's the only key to success this season, because you can only influence what we do and not what others do. So let's go for it, enjoy it, and we'll see.
The future in terms of yourselves, though, and yourself as well, it just looks so good this season, doesn't it?
Well, the only thing I'm focusing on is the game ahead of me, and I'm feeling good. I think everyone can see that. And what the future brings at the moment, I've got no idea. So anyone who says they know it, they are absolutely wrong. But we'll see what happens.
It brings a final, for sure.
Well, that's definitely on the schedule. So we'll focus on that when the time is there. Now we focus on the FA Cup on the weekend. That's a quick turnaround as well. But we have to be ready for that as well.
Good stuff. Enjoy your evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You needed to get the job done, but that was beyond a comeback. You were relentless.
Yeah, I think the stadium helped a lot. We knew we had to come back from the 1-0 behind. So we went out there and just tried to create as much chances as possible. And then with the quality we have, we know we're going to get big chances and hopefully score. So that happened, and very good performance, I think, from the whole team, and great win.
You talk about the stadium, you could just feel it. It went up more than a notch tonight. Knockout.
Yeah, no, they were fantastic like always, but they helped us a lot today, and it gives us extra energy every time, again and again, and we are very happy with this club, with these fans.
Very happy with the season as well. I spoke to you right at the start of the season, and you were talking about how you wanted, as a team, as a club, to win everything this season. You're already in one final. How achievable is the rest?
Yeah, we are on the right track, but it's we have to take it game by game, step by step. So today, good job done. So we are in one final, but we have a lot to play for still, and yeah, we have to stay calm and focused to reach as much as possible.
I know that, but everything just seems to be falling into place for you.
Yeah, we are in a good flow at the moment, but yeah, we have to keep going. So you know how football goes. It's about consistency, and yeah, we have to keep the momentum.
I know what you can see what's coming next, and it's been a while since we did this. We did it a lot last season because you won it a lot last season.
No, I didn't win it. I always gave it away.
You always gave it away between you and Curtis, but this is your very own semi-final player of the match, Cody. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you. Done?
Yes.
Very nice, Cody Gakpo.
His own, and he's going through a challenging time. He's talked about injuries, but the players that are out there still have to be giving more than what they're giving at this moment in time. The senior players, something we've talked about for years and years in this Premier League, how good he's been. But when the going gets tough, which we've all been through it, you then have to look to your senior players and help them young players. Danzo was a positive tonight. I thought he came in for his first game. But believe me, that was a low night for Spurs.
Just look at your team. I've counted 8 internationals for Tottenham today.
Yeah. 8.
I mean, that's not an inexperienced team. The goalkeeper's even capped, I'm not sure. Maybe that makes it 9. But there's a lot of players.
He's an under-21 international.
A lot of players, so you can't talk about not having experience. They know what it's like to come to Anfield and you have to suffer and make sure you compete and do the right things. But that was just shocking.
Do you wonder whether he knows whether to stick or twist at the moment with the football he wants them to play? There's been so much discussion on their style. The line isn't as high, is it? I mean, they aren't defending as a high line, but... So is he trying to adapt? But by trying to adapt, they're not as brave, and then we're talking about them maybe having to be brave tonight? I mean, is he caught between a rock and a hard place? I don't know.
I think so. I watched them at Goodison a few weeks ago. They went to a back 5 that night. There's no doubt that the full-backs aren't as adventurous in terms of the positions that they take up. He hasn't come here with like a number 10 more often than not. He's played that from when he first came in. So he's a manager. He's trying to find something, and whatever he's trying at the moment is not working. But this is not just this run. You've got to remember this goes back to last season. I think Tottenham have lost 20 of the last 45 games. It's an awful lot. You know, we're not far off. And I think in the Premier League, we're talking almost 50% of the games he's lost. Sort of going back. And I always think there was almost a line in the sand from a game on Monday Night Football when Tottenham played Chelsea at home and they went down to 9 men and he continued to play.
last
even going from last
season, yeah.
This is not just a problem this season. Tottenham had such a brilliant start to his first season. I think top of the league after 10 games. I think the Chelsea game might have been the 10th or the 11th game. And he continued to go with his idea, even with 9 men. And since then, the record is horrendous for Tottenham. So it's not just a case of the injuries right now. And I've got sympathy for them, what they're going through right now, and playing 18-year-old kids at different times, and the same players that have to play 90 minutes every week. So I get that. And for me, I'd like to see him get players back fit and be given till the end of the season. And I think the Europa League, as a competition, they might be able to go far in, shall we say. But I think we've got to be careful in just talking about what's happened the last sort of 2 or 3 months in terms of injuries. It's not that. This is going back to last season.
It was fun. It always felt fun watching Tottenham for a while. You know, they had a play and we go, wasn't that exciting? You know, they lost, but we had a real go today. It's like that saying, when the fun stops, stop. And it has, like, that's what it's got to when I look at Tottenham. They're not fun, they're not enjoyable to watch.
But then we I don't think you were there. Were you there for the quarter final? It was us two for the quarter.
Yeah.
Sorry,
we were there.
I do remember working with you. Right. But that quarter final, when they beat Manchester United 4-3, we had a great night that night. It was so entertaining, but we had a big discussion afterwards about whether you want to win 1-0 or 4-3.
Well, they beat.
But they beat.
Tottenham. But they also
to know what people want.
You said this is where we're at the moment, Michael. But they beat Liverpool 1-0, and it's arguably they had a stronger side out tonight. I know Solanke played, but you still had with that back 4. You bring in Danso to there, a bit more experience. Like I just couldn't believe that level of performance tonight, because I was just expecting more. I knew it was going to be difficult. I had no illusion. I don't think anybody was really expected that they would win tonight. But I felt that they would have a go and they'd try to lay a glove on them and they'd make things difficult. But that was just never in the game.
I'm not just saying this to try and make a headline, but actually I think of a cup tie Liverpool played at home a few weeks ago in the FA Cup. I think Accrington Stanley was in the FA Cup. Now, Liverpool didn't play the best team, don't get me wrong, but they gave more than Tottenham Titan caused Liverpool more of a problem in that game, and that's
you can see
not right.
can see the fear in Spurs' dressing room there. even Ange, to go to Goodison and play a back five in all the time, and people have questioned, will he change, will he change? Well, he changed because of the results and the performances, and even his self-belief. He must feel going, I'm going to go to a back five. Why would you go to a back five at Goodison? Not scoring goals, and you concede 3. They'd scored 15 goals in the Premier League and scored 3 in 45 minutes. So you're making decisions.
I've been critical of the manager, but then if we're saying that he doesn't adapt and then he does do something.
Like that.
What I'm saying is, are you saying that he should always stick with his idea, no matter what, home or away? Because we can't criticise him for saying, oh, he doesn't adapt, and when he does adapt and do something different, have a go at him for that. We can't have it both ways.
I was a little bit questionable why he went to a back five. He's always played a back 4. You talk about the 3, which I was complimentary before. I thought he played a similar 3 in the first leg, and it worked without a number 10. Whereas tonight, I mean, they were just non-existent. Papa Sarr tried to get around, but you have to take the ball if you come somewhere like this.
Is that the manager tonight? Is that the manager? Is he tactically? Is he? What I'm saying is, I'm looking at individual players, and I've never been a manager, so my first thought is always I look at players first. I never really want to. I try as much as I possibly can to look at players and think if I was a player there playing in a semi-final. You're playing against the best team in Europe. It's going to be a tough game. No one really expects you to go through, but it's the manner of the defeat. When I look at those 3 midfield players, they're all big, strong, powerful lads who can run. I'm not saying they're the best players in the world, but I'm thinking if I'm playing in a semi-final, I'm hitting Curtis Jones early on. I'm not saying that in an old-fashioned way. We saw it from Newcastle last night. I saw Trippier early on in that game, and I knew straight away Newcastle were ready. They were going to make this as tough as they possibly could for Arsenal. And I know they were at home, but Tottenham didn't make that tough for Liverpool. That was one of the easiest games Liverpool have had this season.
Because it's not Postecoglou's fault that Bissouma gives the ball away for the first.
Of course, but it's never the manager. That isn't the manager.
No, but that's your point, isn't it?
I also think that there has to be a message that we are. When you keep losing the ball continuously in your own half and the keeper's playing out, we have to go. And I think that has to come from the players as well. You go, OK, let's try turn them. Let's try and do something different because it was just coming wave after wave. You kept losing the ball and you're asking for pressure. And that's where I think that you've got to go wrong. And I tell you, it's like that, say you've got to have a plan B. But that has to come from also the players have to take some responsibility. Like, look at your leader, your captain, Son, and he goes, like, he's been so good for Tottenham over his last few years, but I just don't see him as a captain. I just don't see that he really leads. I never see him because he go, what's he going to bring you when you're really struggling? He doesn't like that type of player. And there's too many of them. And Jamie says it, when you talk about Tottenham, that culture, I mean, if I was a player, I hate to have that levelled at me. But that feels like it's always the stick that everyone beats Tottenham with. It's always about the culture, or it's Spurs. It's what you know. What
but
I think
that's probably come down to recent weeks. Certainly going to Everton. Then I watched them at Leicester. They're 1-0 up, give a goal away, turning the ball over in their own half, and then within 10 minutes they're 2-1 down and they lose a game to a team that had lost 7 on the bounce in the Premier League. And you're talking about Ruud van Nistelrooy, and it's just. It's a knock-on effect for them, and I see them out there as players. They look shot to pieces. When a team gets on top of them and they're overrun, they can't change the wave. And that was what happened tonight. They couldn't change the wave that Liverpool were on, far superior, and they can't compete at this level. When you come up against a team like Liverpool, you have to find something. You have to have a fight and a determination. I didn't see that tonight.
I know you mentioned Accrington Stanley. Do you take into account that it was a free hit for Accrington Stanley, whereas Tottenham came here with more pressure on them because they had a 1-0 lead?
Listen, yeah, I get that and understand that it was Liverpool's best team and Liverpool are going to give it more. I get that, but it's just... I think even when sort of promoted teams come to Anfield, you know, they probably wouldn't play with that fear. They come with a 1-goal lead as well. You know, there was a... I don't know. I just think of, you know, teams who've sort of come to Anfield and try and make it difficult. That was so easy, but it just goes back to that stereotype that we all have with Tottenham. And to be honest, over the years, sometimes when I'm analysing Tottenham on, you know, on Sky, and I love the Pochettino team, and I'd steal about it, but that probably the best Tottenham team you probably had since the early 80s when they were winning FA Cups and UEFA Cup. And that team still couldn't get over the line. You know, there's definitely a mental block with the club. It's not just this set of players and the manager. It goes back a long time. But even when I was a kid watching football, there was this stereotype, as I said, about Tottenham. And right now, that is a typical Tottenham team. People say, the fans have got Spurs back, or we've got our club back. Yeah, they've got the club back that we all we feel like we've watched for 40 years. That's what they feel like they've got back, where they're basically nice on the eye when things are going well. You never expect them to win anything, don't win a big game, and when they get beat badly.
That must infuriate you. It must have infuriated you when you played if that was levelled, because you're not responsible for what's happened in the past.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And when I speak
So this group of players aren't responsible for what's happened in the past?
And it will hurt them. I go back to Poch's time when I left. That was a group of players where you go, they should have won something. I believe that. And so when you're always spoke about, I was in the squad that we won in 2008, and it blows my mind that I haven't won anything since. And so when you hear this, and even as an ex-player, you're thinking, wow, that's damaging, that's hurts you. Of course it does, because a club like this, but then you've got to realise where the club is at and what you're competing against. That is the truth. They've come to Anfield tonight, and I was one of those people who said to you when I walked in, what's it going to be like? Worried, fearful, because Liverpool, they do it, they're winners. They know how to do it. They've done it for year after year, and that's why it's been so hard for Spurs in recent years to get over the line and win something.
And in case you're wondering, Liverpool are the winners, and they have won this evening, and we haven't really touched on them yet because they are in another fight.
I want to take nothing away from Tottenham. They're very lucky. They got battered for most of the game, and a bit of a freak. I think they got 2 goals in the last minute. But whenever they go into a big game as a football club, no one ever believes they're going to win. And that's not me as a Liverpool fan. Those Tottenham fans there tonight, not one of them will have believed that they'd have gone home and they'd have gone to Wembley. They just won't.
Isn't it strange that Liverpool put 4 past them? Liverpool are in the final, and there is no doubt amongst the group here that Tottenham are the story.
Yeah, I think because we just expected a bit more from them tonight. I just cannot get my head around not having one shot on target in a semi-final. You know, I know the one half chance when Son manufactures something, great step over and then hits the bar, but even then you just felt the game had gone for them. And I just couldn't. I just think when you you come into a semi-final, and I know it's always difficult. You're 1-0 and you come to Anfield, and we all talk about the pressures and the noise and everything that goes around it. But I just felt first half they're trying to play it from the back. The goalkeeper's edgy. In midfield, they never showed any courage to get on the ball and make things happen. They were so abject. And it wasn't the inexperienced players, it was the experienced ones that I was looking at thinking, well, go on then, lead the team. Son's your captain, show something, show some character, get on the ball. Kulusevski, nothing. And I think it's too easy to say, well, yes, they have had injuries. They've absolutely, Van der Ven. I say less about Romero because I think I watch him enough and he can give away a lot of goals when I watch him. But Van der Ven is obviously a big miss. But there's still enough players there to cause Liverpool some problems. I've seen squads beaten Tottenham lately. I look at Ipswich. Do you think Ruud van Nistelrooy would have loved to have had that Tottenham squad beforehand, but they still get beaten by Ipswich? Crystal Palace beat them. There's so many different games. I know you did the Everton game not long ago, Jamie. Everyone seems to find a way of beating this Tottenham side. And I think the manager right now, he baffles me with his tactics sometimes. I think he's completely lost in what he's trying to do. He said, this is what I do. You have to adapt. You have to change. And if you haven't got the personnel that you want, then you have to make sure that your tactics are different. You look at what Newcastle did yesterday. Eddie Howe showed a way of beating an Arsenal side by going man-to-man, being aggressive. Newcastle will not give the respect that what Tottenham gave them today. And I know Newcastle are a better side, but they're more aggressive and they'll get on the front foot. Tottenham showed a miles too much respect today.
Do you think that's... Listen, we've all been critical of the manager, and me going back to the 6-3 game. When I look at those 3 midfield players today, I thought they were a disgrace. Those Tottenham midfield players. But no matter who your manager is, you're playing a semi-final. We're talking about them getting on the ball, but we all come into this game, and if you're a Tottenham man, you know, first 15 minutes, half an hour, Liverpool are going to be on the goal, going to put you under pressure. But get after them, be aggressive. Forget the ball the first half an hour. Be aggressive, you know. Even if you camped in your own half, it was still so easy for Liverpool to get to the edge of the box and just
I think this is where they're at the moment. I've seen them.
What does that mean when they're where they are? I'm just not
how bad they are, how poor they are. I saw them against Everton. They got blown away 3 in the first half. Played Leicester last week, and you're thinking Leicester turn up to the Tottenham Stadium. Surely they can't win. They hadn't won in 7, lost 7 on the bounce, and they come and do. Spurs have got this performance in them, and that's why I came here and I said for Spurs to go through, they had to play to their level. And Liverpool had to have an off night. And it couldn't be any worse. It went the other way. Liverpool absolutely hounded them all over the park.
But pre-match,
were far superior to
pre-match, we're all saying, actually, that looks like quite a physical Tottenham team there. You know, they've brought Danso in, that midfield 3. We're all saying, it looks like a physical team. but it wasn't a physical team.
Well, I think he picked that team thinking, OK, we're not going to come here for how we've criticised Ange Postecoglou. Let's not forget, we've called him naive at times, putting, full-backs into midfield, leaving themselves open. That looked like a team that was picked before the game that was actually saying, you know what, we're going to try and make it difficult for Liverpool. We're going to go with powerful players, no number 10s, just 3 proper central midfield players. So this, in terms of actually getting on the ball, yes, they lost the ball for the first goal, but I thought that was a team to try and stop Liverpool and nullify Liverpool. And I think, well, OK, that's what most teams would probably do, come into Anfield with a 1-0 lead. But those midfield players didn't even put a challenge in.
So easy to play against them.
Oh,
so easy.
Oh, shocking.
But bearing in mind, when we were at Newcastle last night, one of the things that was specifically said to us by Eddie Howe and Kieran Trippier, amongst others, we knew we had to go out and be physical and get in their faces.
Get into them. I think that was a massive banner behind
It was, yeah.
In the Gallagher end, saying, get into them. Make it difficult for them. Set the tempo. And that's always a thing that you have to do here. And I totally get the game now where you have to play out from the back, but there are times, and more than any place in world football right now, this isn't a place to do it. The keeper gets the ball. He's passing it to his left back or right back. They're playing out. They're trying to play into midfield. They're losing the ball. You're asking for pressure. It wasn't working. So then you have to think, all right, well, why don't we then clip one into the space? You've got Son who's quick enough. You've got Kulusevski or you've got Richarlison trying to get hold of something. Oh, Virgil van Dijk was too strong for Richarlison, but maybe try something else. Maybe come up against the other centre-back, Konate. But they were just playing into Liverpool's hands. Liverpool wanted that game, and that's exactly what Tottenham gave them. And it was just, you cannot keep doing that. It's just a sign of madness when you keep making the same mistakes.
Let's hear from the Tottenham manager. Here is Ange Postecoglou.